Tuesday evening, folks, ladies and sinners, welcome to the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. Yeah, we're getting down here in Vegas. You guys know how it is, man. We love our shows out here. We also love our sports teams. Lady Aces are off to a great start, guys. They're still top of the WNBA. They're killing it. Maybe have lost a couple games over the last week, but guess what? They're still holding strong. First in the West, first in the league. They're looking great. They're still killing it. More than 91 points a game on average. Still killing it. Golden Knights have a new coach. I want to talk a little bit today about how can the Golden Knights surpass the Colorado Avalanche, who are a very young and well-built team. Very deep. Colorado Avalanche have a lot of free agent decisions to make this offseason. But how can the Las Vegas Golden Knights compete? Because at times, especially a couple years ago, they were able to do it in spades. And then the Raiders, you guys already know there's drama going on with Colin Kaepernick, the Colin Kaepernick situation. Warren Sapp opened his mouth. Colin Kaepernick and his agents are saying, nah, that's not true. Raiders are not getting the respect they deserve. I don't get it. Who knows? Can't talk about it any more than what we're going to do tonight. So, won't be a relatively long show because as you guys know, we're in the off season. Okay? A little bit of a struggle to find some stuff to talk about, but we'll make it through because that's what we do here. We're transparent, but we're IE Sports Radio. So when we get back, we'll touch on the Las Vegas Aces, we'll go into the Golden Knights, and we'll talk about the Raiders. Again, welcome on another Tuesday edition of the Sin City Sports Show. And welcome back after that little interlude there to the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. Get at us on our Twitter, man. I haven't talked about it in a couple shows, and I'm sorry about that. But we need more involvement from the fans out there, especially those Vegas fans that we post our show to. So, yeah, get at us at SinCity_IESR. Get at me on my personal Twitter, at Cale_Henderson, man. I'm always willing to talk. How's everyone's evening doing? Mine's great. I started off with a chicken burrito with a little bit of a maple sriracha glaze. It was fire. The lady cooked up some kebabs. I just diced it up, threw it on some brown rice, some peas, some corn, and that little sauce. Wrapped it up in a tortilla. Man, what an amazing burrito that was. I want more of it. I'm glad I saved the sauce too because it's a very, very good sauce. You guys ever want to look into some recipes? I'd be happy to post some of that on the Sin City Sports Show Twitter page. Why not? Give you a little cheats. But yes, gotta love talking about the Lady Aces. The Lady Aces are kicking off this season very well, starting out 14-4, first in the West. They are killing it, man. They're really only a game ahead of the second in the league, the Eastern, but that doesn't really matter right now. It's crazy. They're averaging more than 90 points per game. Opponents, they're only allowing 83 points a game. They did lose a couple games over the last weekend or over the last week, but they're still out there killing it. 8-3 at home, 6-1 away, 11-0 in conference, so they're undefeated in the West. Like nobody's touching them, and they're 7-3 in their last 10. Win streak of 1. Like to keep that going. You know how that is. The Lady Aces are just killing it though. We're all in. All in Lady Aces. You folks want to get a chance, make sure you guys get out there, take a look at the Lady Aces schedule. The Lady Aces let's take a look at their upcoming games. I'd be happy to share that with you folks. Upcoming games would be in Seattle. So this is part of that road stint we talked about last week. We got Seattle, Minnesota. Their next home game is July 6th, so 2 days after the 4th of July. You guys know how that works. They will be at home against the New York Liberty in the Michelob Ultra Arena. We'll go on the road for 3 more games and then be back in town July 19th to face off against the Atlanta Dream in the Michelob Ultra Arena. So, very winnable games, all of them, by the way, with the way the Lady Aces have been playing. I'd say the Connecticut Sun is one of those that's like, I don't think they can sleep on. Chicago Skies, they're doing really well. They're killing it as well. But yeah, it's by far the Lady Aces are killing it. The 2 games they lost to were the Sky and were the Chicago Mystics. Games were very close. It wasn't like it was, handily won by the opposition. This team fights. They're very good. They score a lot of points. They're very efficient. And the one thing I would say that dipped a little bit in those two games was the free throw percentages and the overall field goal percentages. Those dropped those both games. So I'm wondering if there might be a little bit of film out there. I might need to take a little deeper dive into what's going on. But yeah, the Lady Aces are killing it. That's all we got to say. They're first in the WNBA. They're racking up them wins. Gotta love it. Stay in the West. Stay alive in the West. It looks like we're almost halfway through the season already. And they're just straight dominating. I don't really see anybody beating them as of right now. But you know how things are, guys. When it gets to the playoffs, anything can happen, especially when you're in a 5 to 7 game series. Anything can happen. UNLV, I know we're not trying to advertise, but it is what it is. UNLV Athletics just wanted to start a little bit of a promo. Free UNLV Nike Pegasus when you purchase a pair of season tickets for both UNLV football and men's basketball. It's kind of dope. A little bit of a promo there. Those have to be like, what, 90 some dollar shoes? They're personalized. They got UNLV on them. They're Nike. It's kind of cool. A little bit of a promo there. I remember when I used to work for Lincoln Stars Hockey, the USHL affiliate here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We used to do really cool things, really cool events. I think it's awesome when teams do that because it gives their fans a little more value for their ticket. For example, I think we did like a 3-pack over at Lincoln Stars Hockey. We had purchased 3 games or something like that. And it was like $30 a ticket, which isn't bad, which means $10 a ticket. You got basically a coupon that would give you a free meal at Wendy's, and you get a shirt with it and stuff like that. That's pretty good value for just $10 a ticket. So it was a good way to get things sold out. And man, I tell you what, when the hockey arena, when the USHL Lincoln Stars hockey arena is full, it gets crazy. So I love it when teams do that. I hope that's something they do more of, and especially with UNLV football. I mean, you got a big, massive stadium you can fill. Las Vegas needs to be out there having a good time. But yeah, that's one of the things that's coming up. The UNL football team should be much improved this season. Hoping for, Coach Arroyo, man, he's very active on social media. Very happy about the recruits he's brought in this year, and you can just tell that the culture is shifting there. Finally, getting the defensive players he wants. You got a group of offensive linemen that are coming into their upperclassmen years, so they've had opportunities to work out and gel together over the years. 4 or 5 receivers just built with speed, have a quarterback competition going on. So a lot of good things to say about the UNLV Rebels, but the one thing I can tell you guys, it is the Mountain West, and it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. I obviously wish them nothing but the best, but I mean, you still got to go through Boise State. You still got to go through Fresno State, who are both very good. San Diego State's good year in, year out. They're a team that nobody talks about for some reason. San Diego State is disgusting. It feels like they have one of college's leading rushers every single year. The guy goes obviously undrafted or like late rounds, but the dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. San Diego State just churns out really, really good running backs. And they do a great job of churning out yards as well. So I think the Rebels have a lot to overcome. But listen, they're in the right direction. If you guys had an opportunity, I posted on our Twitter. The UNLV Rebels were featured in the Royal Key YouTube section. If you guys get a chance to, go on there. It's very interesting. Royal Key or Koyoski, basically it's a group of guys that roll around the nation, and they look at team facilities, collegiate facilities for that matter. I mean, you see things ranging from, Texas A&M's $400+ million facility to Alabama's $400+ million facility to Oregon's, I want to say it was like close to $30 million new baseball facility, stuff like that. They tour everything, and you get to see exactly what these players, how the recruiting process goes, the equipment, stuff like that. So I know it's a bit of advertising or free advertising for them, but it's super cool. And UNLV was featured on there. The UNLV football team was featured on there. They showed the new football facilities that's going on there. They showed the Allegiant Stadium portion, or the portion, very, very small, I should say, because it is Raiders Stadium. I know that they're, advertising it's part of UNLV. It's not. It's not. They're allowed to play in there. I think that was probably part of the writing for the Raiders to get that funding from Las Vegas. But yeah, UNLV has their portion of the stadium. It's a small portion. locker room that you're able to tour in that YouTube video. So if you guys get a chance, go check out the UNLV Rebels on Koyaski, or Royal Key on YouTube. It's super dope, and it's actually on the Sin City Sports Twitter page. So give that a check. It's like 15-minute video, super cool, awesome, and it's just, it goes to show, like, these guys, if they really commit to what's going on with the money, with the new stadium that they can play in, the new Raiders stadium that they have the ability to play in, sky's the limit as far as recruiting, man. They just got to get out there and do it. So there's no secret in my mind as to how this team is really turning a corner and the culture starting to change. I think Coach Arroyo is on the right track, man. And UNLV athletics in general seems to be doing better. Baseball and softball killing it. Football is on its way up. Hopefully it improves. If they finish like third or fourth in the Mountain West, I think that's a massive improvement from last year, because they finished like second to last, I should say. So something like that would be a huge improvement. A bowl game is going to be a massive win. That's my prediction for UNLV this year. I think they go 7-6, maybe 8-5. 7-6, yeah, 7-6, maybe 8-5 or something like that, with a bowl game win. And yeah, I think that'll help a lot, especially with all the nice new things that are happening. So good things on the rise for UNLV Rebels. Football's got to be killing it. Basketball's getting a ton of recruits. They're doing a very good job. So all around in general, UNLV is starting to really turn the corner, and they should. They're in a mecca, honestly, like a huge attractive place for athletes. Yes, it is dry, scorching hot desert heat, but wouldn't you rather have that consistently than below freezing temperatures for 2 or 3 weeks? I don't know. I'm just saying that because I live here in Nebraska. We'll have 3 to 4 straight weeks where it's below zero freezing temperatures, wind chill, all that stuff. Like, you have to run warm water in your pipes before you go to bed at night. Otherwise, those will freeze over and crack kind of crap. I would rather be in Las Vegas. That's all I'm saying. Wisconsin, all that, I get it. They're major universities, but I don't know. I feel like that would be a little more of a resort stay over there in Las Vegas than anywhere else. So I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, guys, we're going to talk about the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights had an article released the other day about them, for that matter. Would have been ESPN asking the right questions. We have the Las Vegas Review-Journal talking or asking about the right question. How can the Golden Knights dethrone the Avalanche next season, who had a legendary year? They have a defensive man that's basically won the Calder, Norris, and Conn Smythe trophies by the age of 23. So the roster in Colorado is stacked. How do the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who were bit by the injury bug last year, come around? We'll talk about that when we get back.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Motorsports takes many forms, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seam, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What up, ladies and centers? Welcome back from the commercial break there. Got to support our IE Sports Radio family. They do a kick-ass job, man, putting on shows on a daily basis as a team, man. We've got some great teammates as well. Taryn Rodriguez is in the chat. Thank you so much for joining today, man. You're awesome. You're involved with everything, dude. Love it. Thank you so much. Normally got Davidson in here, Adam Karnick, the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B, Gina G, all those people. They're always in here. So, gotta love them. Thank you so much for the support, guys. You guys are sweet. Thank you so much. Real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of the discussion tonight, the Golden Knights and the Raiders, we got to talk about the sponsors. Sponsors for the show, the people who pay the bills. The Southern California Semi-Pro Warriors team. Oh yeah, the World Semi-Pro Sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film out, to try out for teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get the second chance you have been waiting for as an athlete. Social media, Twitter, at SoCal Warriors, Instagram, at Southern California_Warriors, Facebook, Southern California Warriors, and then the main platform of it all, IE Sports Radio. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans and for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shoutouts on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on this segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment, hosted by the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B himself. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Gotta love it. Taryn chimes in, says, I think he's talking about cauliflower. He says, I'm eating leftover meat with cauliflower rice. Okay, cauliflower rice is fire. Okay, meat is fire, especially the way, depending on how you cook it. You know, I've been on like this marinating phase lately, because I'm definitely a firm believer that if you marinate and you cook things low and slow, like sear it and then cook it low and slow, you get a better product. So I've been what kind of meat you eat, Taryn? Yeah, we're all about this. I know it's a sports show, but hey, we're trying to get involved here. And I replied with cauliflower is good fresh, but I hate the smell of it coming out of the fridge when you open the container for the first time. Cauliflower reeks, man. It's horrible. Until you warm it up again, then you're good to go. A little bit of butter, salt, pepper. Cauliflower is fire. Love it. Love it. He said, agreed, but I got to eat healthy. Plus, I'm trying to save some money, so okay. So I don't spend money on food. I feel that, man. You know, easy way, get a bag of brown rice, dude. Make a couple cups of it a week. Kind of portion it out over meals. I know that's not a lot of rice, but, dude, rice is super cheap. Super cheap. Get those cans, like cans of peas or something like that. When I go on my little boxing diet so I can shred about 20 to 30 pounds every year, which I seem to do because I have almost no discipline when it comes to eating. I'm a foodie. I'm a fanatic. Love smoking meat. Love smoking food. Pizza is my kryptonite. Don't hate on me for that. I go on a bender like basically every time starting this year, and by the time I get to November, I've lost like 20 to 30 pounds easy. But the thing I eat is usually, grilled chicken thighs, or boneless chicken thighs for that matter, and then a lot of brown rice, canned peas. Obviously, you want to steam them. Don't do the non-salt one too, because sometimes those canned peas get too I don't know, too strong, too much. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can make, man. Super budget friendly. I'm big on brown rice, especially in a pressure cooker. About a tablespoon of butter. I cook it with chicken stock. I think it's like 3/4 chicken stock. The other quarter of it would be water, and then a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper. Then I let the pressure cooker do the work. Stir it up with a tablespoon of butter when it's done, and dude, you're good to go. You got nice, I say unsalted butter, by the way. You got nice, really, really tasty brown rice, man. Brown rice doesn't have to be boring. That's for sure. And then I'll add veggies when I portion it out before going to work. All good. Gotta love it. transitioning back into the Golden Knights, guys, we talked a little bit about the Las Vegas Lady Aces. The UNLV football team and basketball teams are basically putting on a little bit of a promo. You get season tickets. You get a pair of UNLV Nike sneaks, man. That sounds dope. Not a bad little promo. Those Nike sneakers look like they're about $90 too, so not a bad value. Not a bad value. Golden Knights kicking off their off season. They hired Bruce Cassidy as their new coach. Not upset with that. We talked about that a little bit. Bruce Cassidy is the former Boston Bruins head coach. He legitimately was just fired after another playoff berth. 6 straight years in the playoffs for the Boston Bruins, and he was in the NHL Finals against the St. Louis Blues, where they eventually lost. Man, he's a good coach. He did a lot with some older, experienced players. I think he was the right coach to hire for the Golden Knights. He wasn't on the radar because, listen, the top guy was the top guy. Barry Trotz is the man. Barry Trotz was the top guy. Bruce Boudreau was somebody that I wanted on my list. Joan Quinville, I flirted with it, but his reputation's kind of tarnished now, so no good. But Bruce Cassidy is definitely a good hire. And to be fair, when we talked about those coaches, Bruce Cassidy was not available. He was fired, and like 2 days later, the Golden Knights hired him. So it's almost like they knew it was going to happen, and they had a contingency plan in place. Maybe he was the guy the whole time. I'm not sure, but in general, yeah, I'm all about the hire. Now, the Las Vegas Review-Journal asked a really good question. How can the Golden Knights dethrone the Avalanche next season? Great question. Avalanche are a really young, deep team. They have McKinnon. They have the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. You got really good talent. And it's not going to be that easy. The Avalanche were able to let go of free agents. They're starting goalie, Makar. I'm telling you, that's crazy. But they do have a deep pool of star power, starting with Landeskog, Makar, Nathan McKinnon, who's a beast, right wing Mikko Rantanen. I don't know why I have a hard time. You guys get what I'm saying. Devin Taves. So these guys have a ton of depth. So it's no wonder they won. It's been kind of a process in the making, and I think the front office for the Colorado Avalanche has been second to none. They've been persistent. They've continued to grow, add assets when they can afford them, and yeah, they haven't really spared any change. And I think, honestly, if you want to talk about a team that's done the same thing, the Golden Knights are one of those teams. They haven't spared any expense. The one thing that does suck for the Golden Knights is they have a pretty bare cupboard. They have to build depth. Granted, they have first and second round picks for the first time in years, but first and second round picks just aren't the same as in the NHL as they are in like the NFL or the NBA, right? You're not going to see these guys play right away. You'd want them to, ideally, if they're good enough, but they need some time to develop. One thing I really like about Major League Baseball and NHL that I think is better than anything else, they have a great development system. Their minor leagues are legit. And guys get an opportunity to make money and play for minor leagues while they earn their shot to play for professional sports. It's not like semi-pro, where the athletes are kind of on the hook for their own expenses and stuff like that. These guys are legitimately getting paid a decent salary or whatever's part of their salary in general when they get drafted to handle this. They get the signing bonus, all that stuff. So I know the NHL is different. They don't have as much money, definitely not as many TV rights, but I'm telling you, it's not a bad living still. Expenses paid by the team, taken care of, and a lot of hockey. You get a lot of hockey before you go to the NHL unless you're really special. So the NHL and the MLB do a great job of developing players in their minor systems before moving them up. That's something I got to give them a ton of credit for. Unfortunately, that doesn't get enough attention because the NHL and the MLB is probably, like, out of the top 4 sports in America, they're ranked 3rd and 4th. That's the reality, unfortunately, but that's the reality. So top sports in America right now are football and basketball. It's that simple. Soccer's probably really getting close to getting on that list, especially with the increased popularity over the last few years. But yeah, football and basketball are it. Then I'd say it's probably followed by baseball, and unfortunately hockey's, if you had a top 4, hockey'd be 4. It's not really an American sport. It should be. It's very underrated. Needs more love, that's for sure. But yeah, I just think in general, the cupboard, it's bare, and the Golden Knights have to do a better job of filling that up. Stop spending your assets to go out and get players. You have a pretty damn good roster. You're in cap hell. You need to find a way to move some money around. Keep the key guys and get rid of the ones that just haven't really, panned out for you. And then on top of that, you have to remember that, last year's Golden Knights team was just dethroned with injuries, man. Like, they were just riddled with injuries, man. Majority of their top players missed half the season, or pretty damn close to it. And you're just not going to be a playoff team when that happens. That's why you pay those guys the big bucks. That's why you go out and spend those assets, or give up those assets, if you will, to bring in those players so that you have an opportunity to win. Yeah. I just think that was an anomaly. I don't think it'll happen again. So the big thing the Golden Knights have to do is get healthy. Just get healthy, take care of your players, figure out your cap situation, get your roster back in shape, because you're a team that's very fast, very physical. You're great on the transition hockey game. And I think that's something that's a real weakness for the Avalanche. When they play teams that are extremely physical, they tend to struggle. I truly believe that. So if the Golden Knights can get back to that style of hockey, they'll be fine. Building depth, probably the number one goal. Number two, go back to coaching that identity. I hope Bruce Cassidy isn't dumb about it. I hope he sees what's been successful for the Golden Knights over the last 5 years, and he builds on that. It's going to make a huge difference for the team. And then I totally agree with what was going on with what the Las Vegas Review-Journal said. And Ben Gotts, I believe, was the writer in the Las Vegas Review-Journal that brought this to our attention. Never stop building. So aggressive moves are great. You want aggressive moves. That's one of the reasons why the Golden Knights were built into a contender real quick. They were willing to make trades and trade, those assets and some of those top 6 players that they inherited, or not inherited, but they picked off teams in order to build their roster to become a Stanley Cup caliber type team. One of the things I think that the Golden Knights should really do is continue being aggressive, but you just need to do a better job of keeping those assets that are really going to pay dividends for your future. You're 5 years in. I get why you'd want to win now, but you have to start thinking 20 years down the road, right? Doesn't mean rebuild for 4 or 5 years. It just means keep the players that you know are really going to make a difference now, let the other ones go, and then bring in guys that you can develop or that will be uplifted by the current talent you have on your team. Easier said than done. Sitting in this chair, right? At home. My computer chair in my man cave. Way easier said than done. I'm just saying, there's a formula involved. And if you want to be that type of team again, you have to go back out. You have to start building your team. And if you have guys that you can move on without giving up a ton or finding value, do it. Do it. Kill it. Vegas is an attractive spot for people to play. It is a state with no income tax, and it's an arena that seems to always be full, no matter what. The casinos help out a lot. The business around Las Vegas helps out a lot. But I don't know if you guys have been down to Vegas in a while. I was down there a couple years back with my buddy, and dude, everywhere you walk is just Raiders and Vegas Golden Knights clothing. They love their sports teams already, and it wasn't a sports team, no more than 5-6 years ago. It was a tourism team, or it was a tourism town. It's starting to become a sports town. It's one of the reasons why I picked up this radio show when Larry came back. I'd been gone for a couple of years. He's like, "Hey, Kel, do you have any interest?" Yeah, Vegas, of course. It's going to be one of the fastest growing markets in the nation. And imagine what it would be like if we could be one of the fastest growing radio shows or platforms for the Las Vegas area in the nation as well in the upcoming years. So that's the goal. That's the grind. We got to keep doing it. But I'm telling you, man, as that city grows, as the sports fandom grows in Las Vegas, the Golden Knights are just going to get better, and it's going to be a desirable place for the Raiders, Golden Knights, anywhere in there. The no state income tax is killer, man. It's awesome. It helps out a ton. It means these players can keep more money. I mean, imagine making $16.5 million a year in California. Still a bunch of money, right? But they have a 14% state income tax, right? What? On top of the federal? Okay. So then on top of that, you take that money and then you go to Vegas. You no longer have to pay that 14%. You don't have to pay the 7%. You don't have to pay anything on state tax. Now, property value might be a bit higher maybe, but still, you keep more money. It's very, very desirable place for athletes to come play. You got warm to hot weather almost all year long. It's a destination. You could basically walk down the street and have a great meal. It's a bit overpriced, but you could have an amazing meal by some of the best dining in all the world. Las Vegas is killing it, man. And I think the Golden Knights just got to continue selling what they're doing right now. They have excellent facilities. They have a really nice arena. It's constantly packed. No state income tax. Great future. So never stop building. Never stop selling what you're about, because this team it's on the rise, man. And honestly, it had a down year, but it could very well be back in the top of the Pacific Division in the next year or so. Like, there's no reason to think they can't compete with the Flames if everybody stays healthy. They were able to do it for the last few years. There's no reason they can't keep going. We're going to go to break, feature some more of our IE Sports Radio shows or our fellow teammates. When we get back, we're going to talk about the Raiders. There's a little bit of controversy going on right now. Some things said by Warren Sapp about the Colin Kaepernick workout. There's free agents still out there. And then we got to talk a little bit about Derek Carr. You know, I've said this a few times. The Raiders are getting disrespected across the league. I don't think that they're getting talked about enough, and they're getting slept on. Maybe that's where we want to be. So when we get back, we'll hit on the details of those.
Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the waitaminuteshow.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Indeed.
What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for the latest on Northern California sports? Then take a trip out west with me, your host, Gina G, on Reppin' the NorCal Sports, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be bringing it to you all the way live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's always a packed show. I'll bring you everything Dynastic 49ers, the bite of the San Jose Sharks, torture of the San Francisco Giants, the Golden State Warriors that we still believe. Then take you across the bay to the rise and grind of the Oakland A's. I've got you covered on college ball from the Cal Bears to the Stanford Cardinal, so that no matter what, reppin' in NorCal sports is always reppin' the Bay. So if you bleed red and gold, or you're looking to keep an eye out west in them thar hills, don't miss me, Gina G, on reppin' in NorCal sports. Catch me every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll have your fandom repped harder than a trio of defenders guarding Stephen Curry before his buzzer beater is Gucci.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you're listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my two co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
What up, IE Sports Radio family, ladies and sinners? Welcome back from commercial break there. We are the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Kel Henderson. Get at us on our Twitters, man. We got our at Sin City Sports _IESR. We got at Kel _Henderson, man. We're talking about the Vegas sports. This is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, i.e. Vegas, baby. You gotta love it. We've had an opportunity to talk about, quick recap, I should say. Las Vegas Aces are killing it, 14-4, starting the year first in the West. The WNBA, watch out, because they're averaging like 90 points a game. They're only allowing like 83 points a game. Great recipe for anybody to win, right? Killer. UNLV's offering a promo. Look at them season tickets. Let's grow that fan base, man. They're on the rise. Recruiting's getting better. They were featured on YouTube. Royal Key, for that matter, their new facilities, their football facilities, UNLV football facilities, I should say. Give them a shot. Looks awesome. They're killing it. Talked about the Golden Knights. Golden Knights have a brand new coach, Bruce Cassidy, who comes over from the Boston Bruins. Great spot. 6 straight years in the playoffs. 6 straight years for the Boston Bruins. I mean, he had a really successful tenure there, and he's not in an easy division, man. It's a pretty tough division over there. In the hockey world, they're killing it. Golden Knights have a recipe that they can beat the Colorado Avalanche. You know, we talked about a little bit. I guess the main points are get healthy. Second is build your roster. And then the third would be build depth. Okay? Those are the 3 things I think they need to do. If they do that, they'll be fine. They'll be back in playoff contention. They have great pieces. They just got to refine the roster around those great pieces and go out looking for value, man, because it's out there all the time. You got some lower budget NHL teams. You know, the salary cap is what it is, but there's some lower budget NHL teams out there that can't pay those cash bonuses. Find the best players off those teams, man. See if you can get them for a 1 to 2 year value deal. Hockey's a little bit different than football. I get it, but listen, they're out there. There's value out there everywhere. You just got to go out shopping for it. It's almost like saying, you know, you're a salesperson and you can't make any money. Bull. There's money out there everywhere. You can make money out there anywhere. Go for it. Go looking for it, man. You'll be fine. Las Vegas Raiders are killing it. I want to start off with some positive news before we get into some of the little bit of drama, because there's always drama with the Raiders, right? Just a polarizing franchise. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about Al Davis was inducted into the California Sports Hall of Fame with John Madden in this last week, which is awesome, man. I can't think of 2 people that would deserve it more. They're both in the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame, for a reason. They were trailblazers in multiple facets. For example, you know, Al Davis was one of the main reasons why the NFL is what it is today, right? The AFL-NFL merger, yeah, him and Lamar Hunt, or the Hunt family, were huge reasons why that happened. Al Davis is a patriarch. He also helped shape the way football is done today, pro football for that matter. It's run and gun, man. It's like legitimately run, 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 throw it deep. You know, he wasn't the modern West Coast by any means, because West Coast is a short, efficient passing game with some run games, inside, outside zone. Then you got what Al Davis did. It was punch people in the face, legitimately punch people in the face, and then throw deep. Throw deep to them big, speedy receivers, the fastest receivers you can find every year in the draft, or not in the draft. Al Davis just kind of changed some things. Also, the racial barrier aspect, I don't think Al Davis gets enough credit for. He just wasn't that type of guy. He was like, hey, can you help the organization? Okay, he or she's hired. Amy Trask was one of the first female CEOs in NFL history. That's Al Davis. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden, blanking on his name, but we had one of the first Hispanic coaches in the NFL history. That's crazy. Al Davis didn't care. If you could win him games, he was going to bring you on. If you could do the job, you were going to get on, regardless of your race, color. Art Shell was one of the first African American coach hired. Al Davis didn't care, man. He broke a lot of barriers in the NFL. And even though there's a Rooney Rule, I feel like it should be a Rooney/Davis rule, because Davis was probably one of the patriarchs of making sure that folks had an equal opportunity. It didn't matter who you were, what you were. If you represented the Shield in the best way to help the team win, you were getting hired. So Al Davis doesn't deserve enough credit. And then you have John Madden. You know what he did, guys. I mean, he was an NFL coach. He was the Raiders' first Super Bowl winning coach. Then he became an icon in the broadcasting industry. And then more than that, like video gaming, like it's still going on. He's going to be featured this year on the cover, which is going to be awesome. John Madden was just different, man. Like for a while, you thought John Gruden was on that path. Then we found out about John Gruden's real life and what he truly thinks. He just could never step in those shoes. John Madden's a legend, man. John Madden and Al Davis are legends in their own right. They were before their time, and it was obvious. The Raiders' success hasn't really repeated that since, and we're hoping that we're heading down that way. Unfortunately, we have to transition to a little bit of drama. Warren Sapp, former Raider, defensive tackle, nose tackle, Super Bowl champ with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and former John Gruden player, and also somebody who really advocates for John Gruden, by the way, which is super weird. But he does. He doesn't think John Gruden's racist at all. Came out and said that the Colin Kaepernick workout was a disaster. Apparently he heard things that it wasn't very good. I'm not quite certain if he was in attendance. Nobody could really corroborate with that. But overall, Warren Sapp came out and said it was a disaster. It was horrible. So, of course, Colin Kaepernick's agents and his team are going to come out and say, no, it wasn't bad at all. It was actually really great for somebody who hasn't picked up a football in what feels like 5-6 years already. So he's picked up football. What I should say, hasn't played in the NFL game. I'll say it like this. I've been a firm believer that Colin Kaepernick should be a backup somewhere, even now, in his, as he's advancing in age and stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you he should start. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to be better than one of the 32 starters in the NFL right now. I don't know if I can agree with that. I've watched a lot of football in my time. Watched a lot of football over the last few years, especially with that Game Pass. It's awesome. I can rewatch games, kind of dissect things as they go. The All-22 is dope. I'm just not, maybe better than Taylor Heineke. I'll give him that. Taylor Heineke, I don't know if he'd be better than Baker Mayfield now, but there's a possibility. There's just so many things to think about. But the fact that Warren Sapp would just come out of the woodwork, out of nowhere, and just start commentating on a workout that, I just think the Raiders were trying to exhaust every effort to make the team better. I don't think it was a publicity stunt. Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels don't read publicity stunts to me. And they're from the Bill Belichick tree, so they don't say anything unless they're forced to, like in a press conference. So I don't believe that it was ill-mannered or any bad way. I think they really wanted to give him a fair shake. Maybe Warren Sapp's right, but it's super weird that he just comes out like that. And now you got Colin Kaepernick's team defending him. So just more drama, and realistically, you think Warren Sapp would be a bit more supportive of a former colleague, but it is what it is. I guess they never actually played in the same field together. Warren Sapp's always been opinionated and kind of weird like that, though. Is what it is when you're super talented. Wanted to talk a bit about Derek Carr and some of the things he said. It was touched by Bill Williamson there. on the SB Nation or the Silver and Black Pride. Bill Williamson is a writer I've followed for years when it comes to the Raiders. I think Bill is one of those guys who's a straight shooter. Like he really wants the Raiders to be good, but he's not afraid to say, he's not afraid to say when they're shit. That's one thing I love about Bill. Sometimes his opinions can be a little weird. They don't seem very football related. They seem more fan-sided or like fanatic related, but I digress. Like I have great respect for his talent and what he does. Bill Williamson kind of talked about Derek Carr in an interview and some of the things he said. Derek Carr he's on the mindset that the Raiders are an underdog, and I'd kind of agree with that. I think there are certain members of the media that are fully on board with the Raiders, and then 90% of them are not. They just think it's just impossible for them to win the AFC West with the way that the AFC West is stacked up. We all know what happened this offseason. You still have Kansas City, which has got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and a very good offensive line, so you can kind of lose some athletes here and there. A new look receiving core. You still have Travis Kelce. A team that's probably going to be more committed to the run game than ever before, which I think is trouble for everybody. They may be a little off, have a bit of a down year, but you still have Patrick, right? You have the Chargers, who got that much better this offseason. Like they had an undeniably improved offseason. Their weakest point is still the middle of their defense and still the middle of their offensive line, but I still think they got it was still massively improved. I just think compared to the rest of the division, the way the division loaded up, that would probably be where I think our division attacks them, because you can't attack them on the outside. I think they're stout unless you have a better receiver than their corners, which the Raiders do. So it just comes down to, and then the Broncos went on and got Wilson. We know. I'm not a big Donkeys fan, as you guys can tell. I think the whole division as a whole is up. It's crazy. I agree, Taryn. Taryn said the Chargers are also lacking a right guard. They are. I've said this for weeks now, and I think you've heard it on the show. The Chargers' only weak spot, in my opinion, is the middle of their offensive defensive line, which could come back to bite them in the ass, especially when you're trying to block for what looks to be an elite quarterback or the making of an elite quarterback in the league, finishing up his rookie contract. You still have Lindsey at center. That's awesome. I think the guard position needs to be handled. What I do wonder, Darrell Williams is a free agent out there, Taryn, that I thought the Raiders would pick up because, they were having the troubles at tackle. I do believe that the new regime believes in Alex Leatherwood. I think they can coach him up because he is all of 6'6", 330-some pounds, and he's actually a really freak athlete. He just had a bad year, and it's kind of hard not to see he had a bad year. The two guys inside of him got hurt. He had to swing in. There's just no consistency there. So they're going to ride with him. I thought Darrell Williams would be a surefire pickup for the Raiders, but now I almost feel like the Chargers could sweep in and grab him, and Darrell Williams would be an excellent upgrade at right guard. If you grab him, I think your offensive line's in a really, really good shape to contend for a title this year. To really help with that, Austin Eckler, keep him healthy. That's the big thing. Chargers have to stay healthy. Last year, I didn't think the injury bug really killed them last year. That's usually the case for them. We'll see what happens, but the whole division up and down is crazy. So part of me understands why they sleep on the Raiders. I just don't get it. They improved mightily too. Devontae Adams. That's a big-ass improvement. The defense was improved as a whole. Chandler Jones. Bilal Nichols. You have a bunch of stud corners that you signed. You have Nate Hobbs coming back from one of the best seasons a rookie corner has ever had, for that matter. He was placed in the slot, but he's still amazing. So I just don't understand the doubt for the Raiders, and I don't understand, why people are sleeping on them. I still think Derek Carr is maybe the third best in the division. I think right now he's better than Russell Wilson. I could be crazy, but right now I believe Derek Carr is better than Russell Wilson. I also think he has a better surrounding cast, so that's going to show. So you have the third best quarterback in your league. You probably have the third best offensive line right now. We'll see how things go at the end of the year with this scheme change. You probably have the top weapons in the division, I should say. All this in the division. I think I said in the league by accident. You have the top weapons, in my opinion, in the division. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake. I just don't see Demarcus Robinson. I don't see how the Raiders don't have the top pass-catching units. There's just stuff everywhere, man, and I just don't think they're getting enough credit. So it's going to be a tough schedule. They finished second in the division the last 2 years. That doesn't bode well for them because anybody they play in their schedule was second in their division last year, right? So teams that are on the up and up are improving, hopefully, if you're that team. So I just don't see why people are sleeping on the Raiders. Yes, I understand the division's tough, but there's still a possibility that this team could continue to be nasty. It had the least, if you could argue, it had the least talented roster in that division the last few years, and it still finished second for like 3 straight years. So there's potential there. They just got to, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler have to continue to find a way or a formula to keep it going. And I hate to do this, folks, because we are coming close to an hour. After I said I wouldn't have a lot to talk about, I went on a tangent about my Raiders. Vegas is booming right now, guys. I mean, again, I think we're the fastest growing market in sports right now. It's just a blast seeing what's going on. Check out the Lady Aces. Continue to cheer them on. There could be an MLB team coming soon. Golden Knights are prepping for their season. The Raiders are going to be coming right around the corner. See here, the only thing stopping the Raiders is Adam Rank jinx. Adam Rank is, I just don't like him. I'm not going to say he's garbage. That's being mean. Taryn, I just can't stand Adam Rank. I don't even know what he's talking about half the time. That guy just spews nonsense. Like he's worse than that dude on Fox Sports 1, Nick Wright. No, that's not that. He's not that bad, but that's close. He's close. I can't stand him. Back to the positivity, guys. Listen, you know what it is. We're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'd be 9 p.m. Central. We love talking about our Raiders. Love talking about our sports. You guys want something to talk about, hit us up on our Twitter, DM us. We'd be happy to expand our stuff. Yeah, man, it was a good time. Listen, it wasn't a big show. Didn't have a ton of content, but we're always rolling for you guys. Especially when the seasons come up, it's going to get spicier. You guys are going to love it, man. More in-depth content. I'm gonna be in the habit of doing more videos too, especially some breakdown videos. So be on the lookout for that stuff, guys, and continue to support. Hit the like button, hit the follow button on the socials. Let's get this moving, get this train moving. I want to be one of the fastest growing shows in the nation. Huh? It'd be awesome. You've listened to the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio. I'm the host, Kel Henderson. And thank you for listening on your direct feed for All That Is Sports.